Can you hear me, Mike?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah.
Can you see that screen now?
I can.
Okay, let me go ahead and open up. If I minimize this, can you still see my screen?
Yep.
Still?
Yes, sir. And I do not know if, yeah, I don't know that I'm able to do remote control, so I may have to just talk you through stuff.
Okay. It was when you hit when I hit the accept remote control thing that everything went haywire. Everything was
I don't know.
okay. You can see me?
Okay, so, yes.
Okay. One of the things I wanted to show you while we're here is this is I'm in 2023 now. I've been working a lot going back in 2022 because 2023 has some real odd things going. Like, for example, this was left over from a grid that I created, and I
Uh-huh.
click on it and you see what it does.
Yeah, that's because that particular text style is annotative.
Okay.
So, but there's a setting that's called, if you just type, if you start typing ANNO, and let me see what pops up. I forget the name of the command. All right. That's a, all right. Back that out all the way back and start typing selection. So SEL. Now, right there, selection. Yes, choose that. See the very top one in the list, the selection enter display. Choose that next one down right there. Choose that and turn off. Just type off and hit enter. Okay, now go back and point to that text like you did before.
Yep, that worked.
Okay. All right. So what that does is it puts little previews there of the different scales that you might have in play for annotative text styles. It's nothing in the world but just a real pain in the butt. Apparently, it's helpful to some people, which is why they programmed that behavior. And that's the way it's supposed to work. But they've turned it back on by default, where I think it should be off by default. But anyway.
Let me ask you a couple of hatching questions. I've done
Okay.
some hatching on this, and this is a gravel drive, and
Yep.
and I chose a hatch that's called gravel, pattern name.
Yep.
And if you look at it on the inset, it really does look like gravel.
Right.
On on this, it doesn't so much, but that's okay. I was just curious about it. The other thing is
Yeah.
did did a couple of hatches areas that
Okay. Yeah. What you need to do is change the scale on those. And you can do that a couple of ways. You can just select it and then try different numbers for the scale and the properties, or you can double click the hatch so that the hatch editor comes up. And you see where it says scale 1?
yeah.
Pull that down and choose, say, 5. Or you can just type 5 if you'd like, if it's not in there. Yeah. So just
Okay.
that, yeah, and try that and see. There you go. See, but now, and I would also select it and maybe make its line weight smaller. And over in properties where it says line weight by layer, pull that down and choose the smallest one. One more down, right there. And choose 0.05. All right, and then now finally right click and send to back for draw order. There you go. Now, see, it looks more like gravel, but now look at it up in the inset. You see, now it's still okay. Now you might want that, instead of being 5, you might want to make it 3 or 4. You know, you'll have to decide if there's some better approach. Now, there's another way too. If that should match, is that this is that a gravel patch too, or?
0, 0.
Yeah, but what is it? What do you want it to look like, the gravel road, or not? What I'm getting at, Mike, is that what I'm getting at is that you can match properties on hatches. If you've got one that you like, you want to use, you can use match properties. There you go. Yep. You click that, now you pick the one you like to use, and then you pick the ones that you want it to look like. Okay. Now I'd also take that, take the outline of that patch right there and send it to the back as well, or take the corner point and send it to the front. If so, you're going through your corner. Well, not just, yeah, there you go. Draw order that to the front. Perfect.
Okay, now what I wanted to do with this, and you showed me one time how to do it, get it to work. Go to annotate, legend.
Okay.
Points I need to change here. Points that I found that were capped rebar. Caps, like caps. I need to change the symbol.
You need to change the symbol, or now what is the type of the point you said? It was a
5/8 inch cap.
now is that
capped solid?
Yeah, the solid ones are your caps.
Yes, these are all found capped rebar, not my caps.
Okay.
Here.
Oh, look at the point that's right by the gravel drive corner. You might have to put that in the front as well. There you go. There you go. Okay, now, all right, so what is it that you need? So what is it that you're wanting to do now? Change the, okay.
Got this legend, but it doesn't really have any of the other drawings. Have any
Okay.
things that I need. And I went to the annotate.
Uh-huh.
Came down to draw the legend and
Okay.
clicked it. And
Now, once a legend, yeah, once a legend definition file. Okay, so this is something like the one that you did before on a previous job or whatever. You can save those as long as you consistently use the same symbols and such like that. Or you can start new for each drawing. And again, you got your new and existing tabs. So If you just want to start over, make sure it's on new and just give it a name and point it to wherever you want to store it. You don't have to hit browse unless you want to browse to a different location necessarily.
In the Carlson file, so okay.
Yeah, that's fine. That's where you store in your drawings and stuff. Yeah. Okay. All right, so now this is what's going to start to build your legend. So you're going to see right now you've got nothing in it. You've got a name, what type it is, a description, and whether or not to include it. So several ways you can do this. You can just add manually. That's your add button. Move up and down, changes the order. But you see the one that says add from drawing?
Yes.
So that means it's going to go through and look at your drawing and start pulling in line styles and symbols. Okay. So if you choose that button, add from drawing. Okay, now it wants you to select the symbol, the line type, and hatch types that you want to use. And if you want it to look at everything, you can just type ALL and hit enter. And then you can throw away ones you don't want. And now you're through selecting, so hit enter again. Okay, now here is everything that it found. And if you look at, say, that very first one, you see it says $0 $S hidden. That's a line type. And it has a description called septic. That's, I don't know where it's getting that, probably from the layer. And it says included. So if you double click that one line or select it and choose edit, this lets you change the name and the description. Now the name I would just leave alone, but down below where it says description, that's where you would type whatever it is that you want to show up in the legend. Like you could say, you know, septic reserve area or what have you, or
well, the odd thing is that this drawing doesn't have any septic on it, so exactly.
Well, that's fine. That's fine, but that block or that line type rather is defined in the drawing. So even if it's, and it might be used for something completely different. Okay, so that's all that it's there for. And it's because the $0 tells me it was used on a previous drawing that was referenced into this one at some point. So that's fine. We can say okay or cancel this. And you see where it says include. Now you can either remove this entirely with the remove button, or you can turn it on and off so that you could always add it back later if you want. So that's entirely up to you. So if that's off, it's not going to be included. And you see that column on the far right says no now. Okay. So now you're going to do for the next one, SPTW, is it boundary? And if so, you can, you know, what if and that may be exactly what you want it to say is just boundary, or you might say, you know, property line, whatever you want to call it.
I don't have to edit those.
Correct. Now, continuous, that means, you know, any continuous line, and it's, I guess the first one it found was on a layer called highway. You don't really need that in your legend, so I would, you know, either remove it or turn it off. So you get the idea of how this works. Now, an SPT4W, that's one of your wipeout points, and I don't know which one it is, probably the circle with the wipeout.
Yeah, that's a
And right now
Found cap
it just says points. What's that?
found cap rebar. I would hit edit on that.
Yep. And then right there where that description is, you're going to type whatever it is you want it to say.
Turn light. We're sitting here in the.
What's that?
I
Oh,
better turn a light on. Sitting here in the dark.
yeah, you don't want to do that. We live so much of our lives in the dark. Okay. And then you got phantom lines were also used for property lines.
Fences.
So you see you've got a bunch that are sometimes they're just things you don't even need. And so you could either remove them outright or just turn them off.
Head wired.
Yeah, see the SPT20 with a wipeout and the line type E1. That is like a utility pole or electric pole, whatever it is. And then you've got you got a lowercase p. There you go. And then, but for the line, you'll have the other line. So down on there you go. And you can just double click those if you don't want to keep trying to hit that edit button. It's either way, I think. There you go. And so, yeah, there again in your description, you would just call that overhead electric or whatever you wanted to call it. Right, right now it says EUOH wires. There you go.
Overhead utility.
Yeah, whatever it is. There you go. Now you see the ones that say hatch. It's going to draw a little rectangle and fill the hatch in, and then you're going to say, so right now you got a gravel that it found, you got a solid that it found. They're both hatches, and you know, again, where that initial description comes from, I'm not sure. Is it picking it up from a layer or something? But you can change those. You could, like that solid was, I forgot what that was coloring in. Is that an existing easement or road or something?
Oh yeah, okay. It is an adjoint actual gap in the boundaries.
Yeah.
Double click.
Okay. And then same for the gravel. What did it say? Um, I think it just said gravel, in which case it might be fine. And it's on down below. Oh, it says driveway. I would maybe just change it to say, gravel. It's up to you. Whatever it needs to say. You know what you're trying to convey. There you go. And then also look at things like rip wrap and all of that you don't necessarily need on. Okay. Now, when you're through with these edits, you would hit the save button, and then that'll save that file, and then you would hit the draw button to put them in the drawing. But the nice thing about that is that once you draw it into the drawing, you can still edit it and it will regenerate. Right now your gravel
I've used the same patch for gravel and for the riprap.
Yeah, but look, first of all, Mike, you've got a line, you're on a line type, whereas the other one is a hatch.
No, I know that.
So now, if you need to differentiate riprap from gravel, then basically you're going to do one as gravel and the other one has a different hatch, or maybe simply change the scale. But there's one that I use for riprap that's typically, it's called random, I think, or rubble, one of the two.
Should I save this?
But we can go back. Yeah, save that and we'll edit that in a minute here. Okay, so that's saved, and then you can even exit that, and we'll come back to it. Now, tell me what is what? Is that riprap? Okay, so if you double click that, up there where it says pattern gravel at the top, pull that down and see if you can find one called random or rubble. I'm not sure. And it could be that you would have to load it, and it's not worth doing. We'll just change it with the scale. I don't see.
But I had it before. Stone double.
Yeah, you got those various stone ones. Take a look at those and see if one looks better than the other for it. And I don't know what to tell you. Now, that doesn't look much like riprap. That looks more like actually tapioca pudding. And that's more like a tile. Um, go back up. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, no.
I guess I'm gonna have to do it by changing the scale because none of them really.
Right. You'd have to change the scale, but like, oh, man, wish. Let's see, Shush can raise hand. There's nothing. This silly thing doesn't allow me to. Yeah, there's no way I can figure out how to remote control. Enable split view keyboard sign out settings. No, I sure don't know. All right, so in any case, so try that now. Maybe maybe you would go back to, let's look at the gravel stuff. Pull that stone 00 down and see, and go back up and look for maybe gravel that we can set for a higher shakes. Wait, stop. Go back down. Go back down. I just saw something. Look in the R's. Keep coming down. Right in there. Okay. No, that's bricks. Okay. Sorry about that. All right. So anyway, run up and see if you can find gravel. Here's a gravel and a gravel 1. What does gravel 1 look like? All right, that's maybe not bad. Compare that to gravel. Look what gravel looks like. It's above it, right there. There we go. So go back to gravel 1 and maybe and then go ahead and choose OK, or even preview if you want, and it'll go ahead and say OK, and then if it's too big, we'll change the scale. And do an REA just to regen everything. All right, so that looks sufficiently like riprap. So let's go and find the what?
Need to change the other one to match that.
Yeah, if the other one is riprap, yep, exactly. Okay. And just hit enter now. Double click that one and make sure it took. It should say gravel 1. It does, okay. Now what does our other one look like? The driveway. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Here,
but where's the lines around that? If you you double click inside of that viewport, is that? Oh, there we go. All right, it's there. Just had to update. All right. You might change that gravel drive scale down to 3, maybe to make it a little tighter. Now, it'll also change it in the other, so just double click it there. Double click it in either place. Yeah. And instead of 5, I would say maybe make that 3. There we go. All right.
To annotate.
Back to annotate. And draw legend. And there's your file. Yep, just select the file. Okay. And now you're going to add from drawing. And I would just select those 2 different hatches, one for the riprap and one for the driveway. Go ahead and hit enter. Okay. Now they should be down at the, well, they're right there at the top. So there's gravel 1. So if you select that, double click that. So the gravel 1 hatch, you're going to set its description to riprap or whatever you want to call it. Well, take the W off. There you go. And then down for the gravel, you might put gravel drive or gravel, or just leave it at gravel. And it's down at the bottom. So we may need to, change the order of these in a little bit. Right now it says gravel, so that may be fine. So you may just call it driveway. That's perfect. Okay. Now, let's set the order for the ones that we want. You've got different things. You've got, if you look at the type column, you've got line types, symbols, and hatches. So I would put these in the order of, I would put the symbols first. So first of all, the ones that are going to be included are going to be the ones that the include column says yes for. Okay. So I would say maybe go all the way up to the top, and let's see what. So there's a hatch. So I would select that first line, Gravel 1, click on that, and then hit the down button. Yeah, and I would run it all the way down toward the bottom, like either second from bottom or bottom. Okay, then I'd go back up to the top and I'd find that, your symbols. You've got a SPT4W symbol and its description says boundary. You can make that whatever it needs to be description wise. Is it right now you've got two of them. You see there, they're both the same. So I would just take that second one, the one that you're sitting on now, and just turn it off or even remove it. It's up to you. All right, so that's not going to show, but the one below will show where it says number 5 capped rebar. All right, so there's your first one. It's a number 5 capped rebar. And then you want to find the next symbol that's being used. What's that?
Missing a symbol.
Which one are you looking for? The solid one? That's probably the SPT 49. Right there.
No, that's a sewer symbol.
It might be what it's called, but look at it, double click it and see what it is.
Yeah,
oh, okay, that is the manhole. Okay. So you would change that from SWR net description. I would call it sanitary manhole.
It's a sewer valve. It's not a manhole.
Oh, okay. Then call it sewer valve, whatever it is. Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah, you've got a couple there. All right. So now what do we have? There's an inlet in. Right. So there's your sewer manhole or whatever.
Manhole, one word.
It's one, I think. Yeah. Okay. Now you see the column headings at the top where it says name, type, description, and include. If you click on type, if you click on the word type, does that sort?
Doesn't do it. Let me click.
If that doesn't sort the list, hit the sort button down below. And let's see if we can sort them by type. Okay, that did sort by type. Although it's hit it one more time, see if it reverses the order. I don't think it will, but no, okay. So now we would run them up and down. I would put your symbols first, your line types next, and your hatches last. But if we're still missing one of the symbols, correct?
These two are. We've got that turned off. Yeah, we're missing.
Well, double click that one where it says boundary. Let me see it. the one that's off, the first SPTW, that one. Double click that. Let me look at it. See, yeah, that's not it. Okay, so let's cancel that. I see you've also got a couple of them. You want to make sure you go back and double check all of these to bring them to the front. You've got a couple of them that the lines are running through, so double check that before you print. All right, so let's add from drawing. I don't know why I didn't get it the first time. I'll go over there and pick the solid one. All right, and then hit enter. And now see if we can find where that showed up. And it'll be under symbol. I don't see it. Save this file for a sec. And then exit it. And let's go over and take a look at what that one is. So just select it. Let's look in the properties. And that is, oh, it's called inlet 10. Okay. That's fine. That's fine to call it that. That's fine. No, we just need to add it. Cancel that. You don't need to change it. There you go. Cancel that. And then go back to the annotate, draw legend. Double click your file name or open. There's your inlet 10 right up there underneath the word solid. Right above the man. All right, one more up, right there. See that inlet 10 on the left? Okay, so double click that and tell it, instead of boundary, tell it whatever it is that you're looking for or that you want it to say. Okay. Now say, what was that again?
That moved up.
Yeah, I would put that up. I'd put all of the, can you click and then control click another line? Yeah, so click the symbols. Say yes. You shouldn't. Now go back to that again. All right, now select, hit your sort button again, because now that we've added, I think we want to get them all together. So hit the button that says sort. Right there. No, maybe that's only two. All right, so no, all right. So I don't know what it's sorting by, but anyway, go ahead and grab those two symbols. Click on the line that's the first symbol. Click on that one, and then single click, and then hold the control key down and click the next line. Go ahead, and now move up. So see with the button that says move up. There we go. Go ahead. Is it moving it up? I can't tell. Looks like it's only moving one at a time. Anyway, I would put your symbols up to the top and you just select the one you want to be first. There you go. Now go find the one you want to be next. There you go. You got it. Okay. You got one right at the top of the screen is your manhole. So you got one of those is not being used. It was just doubled up. Okay.
Line types should be next, you think?
Well, I would get your manhole, move it up. Third from the top, right there. There you go. Now I would take your, see the symbol that says boundary, the very last one, that symbol where it says boundary, there. I would go ahead and hit the remove button. That way you're not getting confused by those. All right, same thing with those two continuous line types. And I would just click the next one too. All right, yeah. All right, so continuous, right there. Remove that one. Okay, now, I would take your hatches and move them down. And, put them in the order that you want them to be seen in the legend. Like if your gap is more important than riprap driveway, I'd move it up just above those two, like that, yeah. And then all you got left are the line types. You got overhead utilities, fence, and boundary. Same thing with those three lines. I would just change their order if you want. If you want to, it doesn't matter. You don't need to. Okay, so boundary might. There you go. Okay. Say that again, Mike. I can't hear you very well.
That one's marked no for include.
Oh, okay. Change it on if you want it on. There we go. All right, I would save this file, and then I would hit the draw button. And now there you see it's going to say legend, and then it's going to have two lines below it. And it's going to say these standard symbols will be found in the drawing. I typically just blank those out myself. I think legend is pretty self-explanatory, but that gives you a chance to do something else. All right, and then
What's the draw header? Is that
that's just like a well, that's the title. I'm not sure exactly what that is. I mean, you can try it and undo it and see what it does for you and see if you like the way they go around. But um, so see that? Oh, those are, I know what those are. Those are the column headings underneath what you see. Uh, it'll say the symbol,
Yeah.
and it'll say the code, and it'll say description. So over top of the entire column worth of stuff. Yeah, I think it's kind of self-explanatory, but it's up to you. And then, yeah, try that and see. Say okay. Now it asks you to pick the upper left point for the legend. So scroll out, and well, now you're in model space. If you double click outside of it, does it let you switch spaces? I think what we're going to need to do is,
Okay.
yeah, double click the mouse, see if it'll let you go outside of that.
I am. It won't.
Okay, yeah, so go ahead and escape and exit. Now see if it'll let you do it here, and if not, we're going to do it in model space and cut another viewport into it, but I think it will let us do it here. There you go.
Left point.
Yeah, just click a point. There it is. Now exit that, and let's see what we got. Okay, so if we type undo, and I want to fix one thing here. Yeah, do an undo. Now draw it again. And let's switch the, see where it says right justified at the bottom? Change that to left justified, I think, or maybe right symbol. No, leave it like this. Just left justified and say okay. And see what that looks like first. Right in there. See, what was happening was, now it still did it. All right. Exit, undo. See, it's putting the hatch patterns out in the gray. You can't see them. All right, one more time. Now this time choose right symbol and choose OK. Now I'll try it, and okay. There we go. That's what I was looking for. So now exit that. Now you see what those patches are for the hatches? They're way too huge. So now that they're drawn, you need to go zoom in down there so you can look at them at relative scale. Now, looks like your electric lines might, and your fence lines, you might want to consider scaling a little bit. Just select them and change their line type scale and their properties. And I would say instead of 1, select that and just type 2 maybe and see what it looks like. Same thing on the electric line. You just want to make sure it doesn't look like it's micro. You want to match it as best you can. And you can make it 2, 3, 4.65. It doesn't matter. Okay.
By escape.
No, hit enter. No, hit enter. There you go.
That one did.
Now you got 2 things selected, so. Okay, now.
Okay.
All right, now, what we're going to do with these patches, because they're huge, and I have no idea why they make them that way, but you're going to select the first one. Just click on the edge. Well, yeah, now you see we want to grab that bottom. Well, I mean, yeah, grab that right there. Grab that and and click it and start squeezing it up, and then hold the shift key down so it goes perpendicular. Keep going a little. All right, keep going. We'll keep going, keep going, keep going, and right there. Click. Okay. Now, do the same thing. Press escape. Do the same thing to the frame, just like you did to that hatch. You want to select the frame. Grab that midpoint right there. Click and go up. You got to click. Yeah, click and go up to the midpoint of that hatch line. And you snap to the midpoint. Two more right there. One more. Go back, go back, go back. No, right there. Okay, right out. No. Undo that. Undo. And undo again. And again. No. Every time you change the view, when you undo, all you're undoing is the view. There. Now select it and hold the shift key. Or click it, grab that bottom grip, start sliding up and hold the shift key down. Go up. There you go. And just take it up there and put it, yeah, right in there. All right, that'll work. Now, escape. And now you want to go and grab the word gap and you want to move it up so it's lined up to the left across from that. So get the grip, click, start moving up and hold the shift key down. What's going on? Well, all right, do it that way. All right, like that. Now you see where it says driveway, you want to select the word driveway and the two things to the right of it. Nope, wait, do it all together. Select that, do a crossing. There you go. Now move and select the corner of the patch. Go up, hold the shift key down and just get close to where you're going. Okay, keep going a little bit more, a little too far. All right, right in there. Click. Now, fix that double click that first of all. Now double click it and change the scale. Because remember, you're going from model space to paper space. I have no idea what the math is here, but I would put that down to like, what are your scale? 60 or something like that. So make that, 0.12. Not 0, but 0.12. Hit enter. Okay. Now, so what you're wanting to look, yeah, go ahead and do your stretch, your vertex stretch. It's easier, Mike, if you, let's see. Yeah, go ahead and stretch it up, and you want to sort of make it about the same size as the one above it, right? Nope, you missed it. There you go. Yep, looks good. Now grab the frame. Do that same thing. Put it up to where you got the boundary. Okay, click and oops, you skewed it a little bit. Undo. One more time. There you go. Start moving up and then hold the shift key down. There you go. Okay, good. Now go over to the word and move it up. Now you might also want to, you see how far the word is to the left of the symbol?
Yeah.
So we might want to take all of those words and slide them over so that they line up on the right. Or, we could put the symbols first, and you do that once this is drawn. This is just part of the drawing. So you manipulate it just like you normally would, okay? Anything else in the drawing. And don't get too high. Don't get too close. You want to be opposite the patch. There you go. That's what I'm saying. We're a little bit far away from there, so you can manipulate those around as you need. So now the driveway is smaller, so the next one you're going to run the patch up and the word riprap. Make sure you get not just the patch, but you need the frame also. I would put them up there so you can see them next to where you're working first. But you're covered up over the gray spots and it's the same color. So I would move, I think you've only got the one thing selected. Press escape, Mike, and then select with a crossing. There you go. All right, now you got it. Now move that up and move the top to where it's just below the bottom. Holding the shift key down and, get it close. Just click it down in place and then move it again if you need to. Uh, hold the shift key so it lines up. There you go, right there. Click. Now get the word rip wrap and bring it up so you don't forget about it down there in the corner. Okay. So now I would, go back up there now to zoom in where you can see it, change the scale. Instead of 0.12, maybe make that one I don't know, 0.5, 0.24. Just what you want to do is look at it once it's done. Now look at that in comparison. Scroll back out and see how it compares to the ones that you've marked as riprap in the drawing. Go ahead and scroll out so you can see them both. There. And you see how your legend is huge, but in the mapping it's small. So you want to try to match those. Now you can't just do a match properties because on the one you're inside a viewport that's at a scale, and here you're at paper. So I would just play around with these numbers, maybe make that one 0.2 or whatever, and say okay and see how that looks. I would also select that one, click that one, and also click the one above it. And over in the properties under line weight, pull it down and change that to 5. Otherwise, you're going to be really heavy, 0.05. There you go. And now this way, when when they plot, the line weight won't be so heavy that it muddies up everything. So now you're going to do the same thing that you did on the previous two. Just change the sizing and move it again so that it's back up, about the same distance below the second one as the second one is below the first one. But this is stuff that's just cosmetic at this point. So, but you're trying to match. You're trying to show in this little picture the different things that are in your drawing, and a couple of things that you want to pay attention to are the scale of the hatch, okay, and yeah, it looks like you're skewed a little bit. I would undo that and then grab it and hold the shift key down, or
do I hold the shift key down before I try to grab it?
No, just grab it with the left mouse button, start to move it, and then hold the shift key. But go up. You're going more sideways than up. There you go. Okay. All right. And then I would grab the frame and move it up. Up, undo. You've skewed it and then let it up. All right. Click, move it up. Move up more than left. Up, up, up. Hold the shift key now. There you go. Okay. Now select, do a crossing on that gap, on that patch, so that you get the frame and the patch. Collect now. Zoom in tighter so you can see with your eyes the gaps Now I would move that and move it up vertically so that it's about the same distance below the second one as the second one is below the first one. And I would start your mouse clicks over in the white space. I wouldn't get too close to the geometry because you don't want to snap. Now hold the shift key down. Get right in there. That looks good. Okay. Now, what you want to do on those is look at your symbols. Make sure your symbols look to be the same size as they are in the drawing. If they are not, you're going to select one. Let's say the manhole were bigger. You would select it. Just pick that one symbol. And then you would look into properties and you would change the scale. And when you change the scale here in the properties, you have to change not just scale X, but also scale Y. Okay, otherwise it'll stretch it one direction or the other. And you just sometimes just have to play around with the numbers to see. Well, I don't know. Just they may already match. You have to look at that in relationship to the way the other one's plotted. So one way to do this is now that you have it selected, copy that in paper space. Just say copy, right click, copy. Oh, right there, click and click there. Now zoom out and then zoom in to where roll the wheel so that you zoom way out so you can see where you pointed. You're in. All right, now point the mouse up there to where that symbol occurs in the mapping and then zoom in. There you go. Zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, and get it somewhere close by. Okay, now click, and it looks like it's, or in fact, you can just press escape. Press escape, and now select that one or type undo or something because you're roughly the same size. That's what you're trying to do, is you're trying to make sure you're about the same size. Okay. Now they may all be just fine. I would do a regen all here at this point because I see the insets are getting, there we go. So, I would compare those. What you're trying to do is to make sure things are relatively the same size and scale as you see them in the mapping. I would also, when you go back down to my legend, and I would consider maybe taking those, I would do a crossing selection on all 3 line types and all 3 patches, and I would slide them to the left. Go ahead and I'd say move, and I'd move them to the left. And I would just click. What's that?
Hold the shift key down again.
Yeah, but click first and start to move to the left and then hold the shift key. There you go. Now you see what we're doing with it. We're getting it closer to our descriptions. And then I would just somewhere in there and click. Well, now you're going to have to go grab them and move them down, or undo that and move them again. There you go. There you go. And yeah. So, or maybe not quite so far to the left, and then, maybe consider putting the descriptive words over next to the boundary of the hatches. Just again, look at it. Or I wish I could grab these and show you. You could take the entire column of words. You can do a crossing of the words, and you could put the words to the right of the symbols. And like if you crossed, do a crossing from there down and click, and now move, and you want to move all the way over click some white space. There you go. Click and then hold the shift key and go all the way over to the right of all the symbols. Yeah, keep going a little bit more, 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 a little bit right in there. Right there. Click. Now do a crossing of everything and move it back to the left, except for the legend word. There you go, like that. There you go. Then I would move that and center it underneath my, or maybe not centered, but get the idea, like right there. And then you could like take that legend and double underline, and you can stretch the underlines over to the right a little bit. If you click them and just get the grips up and just drag those arrowheads. Yeah, grab an arrowhead, slide it over. Just click on it, and no, you're not. You're still selecting. There you go. Now do it. Go to the right. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go too far. Just enough to cover your columns, and I would do it for both of them. Now you're going to be locked to the endpoint, so yeah, hover over the arrowhead. That's what you want. Hover on the arrowhead. Now click and go left a little bit. You keep losing the grip right there. Now, once it turns color, click with the left mouse and push it now to the left. Yeah, except now you see it's snapping to the endpoint, so you have to do none. Go up and grab the no snap. There you go. And right in there. All right, now I'd try to grab the other arrowhead and sort of match that up. The second line down, there you go. Click and go left, or go right, I mean. Yeah, and or you could press escape, so nothing selected. Select, that actually doesn't look bad. It's kind of stylish looking. Or you could select the second one and delete it, select the first one and copy it down if you want two of them. Again, this is just eye candy at this point. Yep. And I would maybe even consider taking that word legend. I'd select that word and maybe look at its properties and tone it down a little bit. Right now it is, how tall is it? It's 3/10 of an inch tall. See where it says paper text height? I'd select that, maybe at best I'd call it 0.15. There you go. And again, look at the line type scale of the fence line compared to the way it looks in the drawing. Same thing with utilities. If you need to change those scales, you just select them and you play around with those numbers and see what looks the best and what matches what the other one shows. Okay?
Yeah.
Now be sure you save your work.
Were you able to record this?
Well, they have a record button, and I've got it running now. I don't know exactly where that goes. This is this sort of freebie Skype thing that's all part of Windows, but whenever I can find it, I will get it posted and let you know. All right.
Trying to figure out what's going wrong with the Zoom. That should be fixable.
Yeah, that Zoom stuff was actually working nice, and now
Well,
I don't
I've
know.
done some other Zooms and it's been fine. The next time we try a Zoom, let's try it first without you taking control of my computer and see if it's that level.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
And we can try to take
Yep.
shift control of the computer and see if that's what's doing it.
All right, it should work. We'll give it a shot.
Okay, very
All
good.
right, so I will.